Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dirty Gaming and a new series on the channel where we're going to do an SSF playthrough, but we're only allowed to gear up through grave crafting. I've leveled through the campaign fairly slowly because I wanted to collect lots of corpses and get some crafting done. We're not exactly swimming in great gear, but I did craft a 5-link chest and I managed to craft a bow with some damage on it. It's not amazing, but for the campaign it was pretty good, and for early maps it is fine. I thought I'd start the video where I'm sort of finishing off my white map completion, because this is where really the challenge starts, because at the beginning it was just running around on my bad gear getting maps cleared, and they are already starting to get quite difficult with the haunted modifiers. The reason I've picked Deadeye Lightning Arrow is because it's a nice easy build to gear up. You don't need any unique items. We're going to gear up with rares. The items are not too hard to craft with graveyard crafting, but the idea is we do some very small graveyard crafts to try and get gear that's good enough to push to red maps, and once we can start getting decent item level corpses, we can then target individual items. So what I will do in this series is actually go through every single craft that I do, why I'm targeting that particular craft, and the corpses that I'm using to do it. There's going to be nothing fancy. We're not going to use too many external tools other than Craft of Exile just to tell me what the odds of hitting something are if I put the configuration in. There's not going to be a build guide for it because there are a ton of good lightning arrow build guides out there. I'm sort of winging it, so I'm probably not as efficient as I should be. The idea after this is that we then build a second character. So I've done a lot of SSF runs in my time, but I tend to just do one character, push that as far as I can, and then I abandon SSF. I've never had to target farm gear for another character. With the fact that graveyard crafting is very powerful and accessible, what I'd like to do is get this character clearing the Atlas. Then when I want to go and push into things like T17s, I'm probably not going to want to do that with Lightning Arrow. So we're going to try and get gear to push another character through SSF and then start tackling some really difficult content. We should be able to level the character up pretty nicely because we're going to be hanging around in lower to mid-tier maps because we're not going to be able to push much further unless I just want to die loads. But we're not in a trade environment. I don't need to push really quickly. I can take my time. So we're probably realistically going to hit early 90s before we even hit a decent level of red maps, but then that gives me plenty of points to play with on the tree. We are going to need to transition to crit at some point, and for that we really just need a bow and quiver, but they take a few corpses to attempt to craft, so I'd rather get my other gear crafted first. So there's quite a few crafts in this video. It's actually gone to Atlas completion. So what I thought I'd do is actually go through the process of how I decide what corpses to put in, rather than show you 9 or 10 different crafts and explain every one. The video is going to be super long. So if we take rings for an example, and this can be used on anything where you're just looking to get life and resistances, you're just going to go into Craft of Exile, put ring, and have a look at what can roll. The idea is we want to, if we can, block mods we don't want and increase mods that we do. The only thing I'll say about things like rings, and I think nearly all other items as well, is they will have some life only things on suffixes that you don't want. So what I've found works the best is 1 increase life, 1 decrease life. That gives you enough life that you should almost guarantee it on your prefixes, and it doesn't weight these too highly. If you don't put the minus in, you're very likely to get 1 or even 2 of these life when we just want resistances. So this is kind of the craft I would go for, and it's not guaranteed to hit, but it doesn't take many corpses. We can see here it's 1 cold, 1 fire, 1 lightning, 1 resist. If you get 2 resist, you can drop the fire, cold, and lightning. It works much better. But the cold, fire, and lightning are much more common. We're obviously putting 1 life in, and that's it. And then for blockers, we're blocking defense and mana, which is quite important for rings because energy shield and mana are really highly weighted. We block our life, as mentioned, and if you can, block attributes, and that's kind of it. And then for modifier tier rating, I was just going until it said I was going to block at least 60% of the mods. That means the top 40% are the only ones that can roll. Once you get higher up your map tiers and you need better gear, you'd obviously put more of these in there. So let's say, for example, for this one, we had 7 of these. We'll just generate a sample item. And we can see here, we haven't hit life, but we have hit an open prefix. And with it triple elemental with an open prefix to craft life, we'll just generate another sample item. Hit accuracy, not the worst mod. Fire resistance, all LE res. Lightning damage to attacks, which is nice. And life. And then an open prefix. And all of the items where I'm crafting mana were similar. When it comes to like bows and quivers, it's a bit more complicated because you need to start adding in crit. But I don't want to go specifically through the crafts because they are really just for this build in terms of the bow and the quiver. But crafting just bog standard rings, movement speed boots, attack speed gloves, all of that is going to be the same for most builds, especially early on in SSF. So I will show all the crafts, but I will cut out the bits where I'm explaining, what I'm doing and why, because for a lot of the items early on, they are pretty much exactly the same. So let's roll into some footage.
May the glow of Lunaris heal your pains and aid this soldier, so that you may
be good to me. It's my first craft. Come on. Right, let's have a look. And yeah, it's really, really good. Hit fire resistance, cold resistance, lightning resistance, got chaos from the base, lightning damage to attacks, and then some life. So it's obviously not tier 1s because I don't want to go using like 8 to 10 of the tier rating ones because they're probably going to be the bottleneck. So we can now go and craft non-channeling skills, and we've got our first decent item. So let's hope, I think I've unlocked all of my crafts. We do, excellent. So we'll craft this. And then I've got loads of blessed ores because I had a lantern mod. So we can get this up to 23. And now we've got an awesome ring to put on the character. God, he goes on. And we got so unlucky there. Like crazy unlucky. We hit stun and block recovery, which is unlucky because that hasn't got a tag. Spell suppression hasn't got a tag, and we hit life. We got our prefix life, but we have no resistances on this helmet. So basically that was a brick. So we've got another craft ready to go. I probably need more tier rating, but I kind of need to get onto the bow, and we're again filling up graveyards with loads and loads of junk stuff. So again, I'm just going to go for a normal craft. We've got resistance, speed, life, chaos, elemental, lightning, +2 to explicits, reroll, caster scarcer was a random one from the corpses. We don't really need that. Defense and attributes are scarcer. Again, I think this could be a brick. Falling time. So we're just going to go and try and craft a pair of boots. And then at least we can clear the graveyard and we can start again. I'm really not doing very well at this graveyard crafting. I keep putting stuff down too early. I'm getting really like carried away, and I'm putting stuff down thinking, oh, I'll get this and that, and then we'll be able to craft this item, and then you don't get them, and then you start filling it with junk. So after this, I really need to start saying, this is what I want, this is what I need to craft, and I'm not going to do it until I get those corpses. Because with something like level 87 now, we've got a terrible bow, we're struggling in like late tier yellow mats, but I'm having fun, so that's all that matters. So we're going to go armor, boots, evasion, slink boots, and then we will craft.
May the glow of Lunaris heal your
I'm hoping we at least get movement speed and life.
Soldier, so that you may grace them with fleetness.
We got, yeah, they're better. They're 25% movement speed, but they rolled really good chaos resistance. Oh, not really good, 21%. Decent lightning resistance, dex, which you don't need life and movement speed. So I think they're going to be better than the ones we've got.
The ferocity of Throldana free you of your anguish and aid this soldier, so that you may empower a bow the mighty lion eye would be proud of.
And yeah, perfect. It was resistances as expected. And we've got tier 3, T2, T2. So that's going to be way better than the bow that we've got. So we're now getting on a bit. We're level 89.5. I've cleared all of my yellow maps. I'm about to push into red maps. I need to do my Uber Lab, and we come to do another craft. Now, originally this was meant to be a helmet, which is what I've got the quality in there, but I've noticed my belt is really, really bad. So stuck some attack on there, because the only thing that can roll from attack is increased LE damage with attacks, but it's not a massively high percentage to roll. Then we've got resistance, life, and then more stuff to try and get resistances. We're blocking mana and attributes. The crit is just blocked because it was a random craft from burying one of the random corpses. And then we've got the lowest tier of modifier that can't roll. So I'm probably going to stick another explicit on this because there aren't really any prefixes I want to craft on the belt. So we'll go and do that. And then we'll just check the item level of the craft. Item level 77. I think this will do, and then we can start focusing on another item. If we check my belt, even if it bricks, it should be way better than what I've already got. So we're just going to craft it. Not bad. It hit early damage with attacks. And we got cold and fire and some life and T3. So we probably could have actually put some more modifiers on it, but that's still way better than what I've already got. It's got the same resistances. Like, we're insanely over on resistances at the moment. We're like 185% of each. So I'm just trying to get gear together so that when I do need to re-roll, if I'm still max resistances once I go crit, then I can maybe concentrate on an amethyst ring, try and get some chaos resistance into it, and then we can almost be capped for that as well. But we're getting there. There's a lot more to do, but for now, we're not doing it too bad. So I'm going to have a go at crafting my bow now. I've been farming for ages to try and get reduced chance of gems and reduced resistances. I've also been doing the bury corpses and then keep sticking the random corpse in the middle of them, and I haven't had them turn up. So we're just going to go with it. We're going to take a bit of a punt. We are likely to get the 3 prefixes that we need, which is fire, cold, and lightning. We should hit T1 because I'm blocking 90% of the modifiers, and there's 10 tiers for the elemental attacks. I've blocked what I can. The issue is with bows is that projectile speed is more likely than attack speed. So I don't want to pile speed on too much because then I might get projectile speed instead of something like crit chance. I can live without speed on the bow. If I could get triple elemental and crit chance, that's perfect. We've gone for 5 link because I haven't had a 6 link one drop. We're going to re-roll the implicits. Got the quality to 30 plus 2 explicits. We'll just see how we get on. This is kind of, in trade, it would be a budget version of trying to get a good bow. You'd obviously increase a lot of these and add some more decrease in on trade to balance it out a bit better. But you're still going to have the issue that speed could give you projectile speed. What we could do is roll for 5 mods and hope we would get the 3 prefixes, crit chance, and then an open suffix for attack speed. But that's risky because it could just brick the bow if we only get 2 prefixes. So we're just going to check that the item level is correct. 83 is too high because that's going to start rolling chaos. So we're going to remove one of the +1s. We're going to have to put something in here in its place, because otherwise they're not going to join up. But we could just do something like an extra quality. We can't go above 30, but it's something that at least isn't going to brick it. We can't do +1. So we could put in, I mean, we could do caster scarcer to be fair, but I don't know if that's like a rare one. Actually, we could stick a mana scarcer in there again so that we've got 2. And now we'll look again, go weapons, bow, spine bow. We're now 82, which is perfect because chaos is 83, tier 1 elemental is 82.
The grace of
And cross our fingers.
relieve you of your anguish and aid this soldier, so that you may empower a bow the mighty lion eye would be proud of.
And yeah, we did pretty good, to be fair. We didn't get attack speed, but we got crit chance and crit multi. So we're starting to get through the red map tiers now. So I'm going to try and replace my amulet because it's absolutely terrible. I'm not putting too many corpses in because anything should be an upgrade. So basically blocking elemental because we don't want resistances. Blocking fears, mana and caster. I would like to block defense, but I don't have any. We're just doing 300 modified tier rating and just crit attributes and life. And we're hoping for an amulet with some intelligence, some crit and some life. And that's kind of it. So we're going to go a gate. This is item level 79, which is fine. And we'll just exercise and we'll see what we can get. Whatever it is, it should be better than the jump that I've already got, he says. And then if we hit life with an open prefix, perfect. We did get life. We've got crit chance, all out. Not amazing, but the all attributes is pretty decent. Dex is a bummer. We have got an open prefix craft non-challenge, so it's not great. Crit multi would have been good, but it's way, way better than the amulet I've got, so that'll do me. So we finally dropped a 6-link beast, which is nice. It means we can get a chest piece crafted. Again, I'm not going to farm for ages and ages to get the modifier tier rating up to like 800 so I can guarantee T1. I'm getting it so that only top 20% of tiers can roll. So in things like life, where there's only 10, or defense, where there's only 9, we're going to get T1 or T2. We're trying not to get life on this, so I've blocked it a little bit because I'd like to take the mastery to get more life. So I've gone chaos resistance, defense, 1 explicit because I want a prefix to craft the Gravicious mod. Got quality up to 30%. Plus 6 to item level because I want to get it to 86 because that brings a top tier of evasion in. Ignore the 5% chance for corpses not to be consumed. This was just to link 2 corpses together because I didn't have anything else I wanted to put in there. And I wanted to get the craft done. I'm just going to double check that it's actually going to hit the tier I need. It is 86. So I think that's everything we need. We will go ahead and craft.
May the tides of Soagoth wash away your anguish and aid this soldier.
Got a challenge as well for using that corpse, so. And we didn't get life. We got pretty bad evasion mods in the end, but 2000 evasion is still okay. We got chaos resistance, which is awesome. So overall, I don't think we could have hoped for much better other than maybe hitting flat percentage evasion. But as I said, we're going to use the Gravicious mod on this, so we're going to go and do that now. quick tip while we're on the way for Kirat missions, especially SSF, is if you have Kirat missions that are white or yellow and you've completed all of your completion, you can get red maps to show up in those tiers and they'll be lower tier. This can help if, for example, there's a really horrible red map at T16 you don't particularly want to do. You can do that white or yellow. Now, obviously, for bonus completion, you need them corrupted, but you do have a fair chance of getting it corrupted. If you don't get it corrupted, what it does is completes it on your atlas. So when you get your void stones, you can favorite that map and you've got much more chance of dropping it. So if we go to Kirat here, for example, we go to atlas mission. I've got some yellow atlas missions, but I've completed all of mine. If I use a scan report to just go to uncompleted maps, it's going to turn all of these into maps that should be red tier, but they're going to be yellow. So for example, I need to do Castle Ruins. I don't have it dropped. It's a T16, but in here it's a T10 and it's corrupted. Not a very nice map, but because I can comfortably do red maps, this should be fairly easy. So all I'm going to do now is run through, do Castle Ruins, and that's going to get completion on that. I'm then going to have like 3 or 4 maps left to do. I can just do the same thing again. And as I say, even if you don't get it corrupted, at least it completes the map. So it's already unlocked on your atlas. So you can then favorite that map, get it dropped, and then just get your completion finished. So I'm just going to go and complete my last map that I need that isn't unique for completion. I'll just use my little reroll Kirat missions trick so I don't have to try and get this map to drop, because then I'm fine to stick my void stones in. You don't want to put your void stones in too early because then it messes up the natural tier of the drops. So if you're running a map that's naturally tier 12 and you put your void stones in, then all the maps adjoining to it are going to be T16, so you're not going to drop connected maps. So I've just used this kind of reroll trick just to get the last map that I need. I won't showcase this because it's a tier 10, it'll be super easy. What I'll do once I finish, because this will be the end of the first video, is I will go through a red map like T16 plus, then I'm going to go through the atlas tree and how I progressed it, and then we'll just run through the gear and what my plans are, because I plan to play this character for a little while longer. We're still going to stick with only grave crafting gear where it can be crafted. So things like jewels I'm going to use because you can't grave craft those. We're going to look, after we've done this, what we want our second and third atlas tree to look like. So I've not touched those. And then we'll try and progress the character a little further. The idea is at least get 4 void stones done. See if we can maybe farm some decent currency. And then decide whether we want to carry on the series but start farming gear for a second character. So I'll go and finish this map and then I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, that's that last map done. I'm just going to go and quickly double check that I've completed all my tiers. I mean, I've definitely done the yellows because otherwise the reds wouldn't have re-rolled into them. Yeah, cool. All done. So let's go through the atlas tree and how I went about starting this challenge and what my tree looked like. Obviously, because we're only grave crafting, I've beelined for this wheel here and then this wheel here. I've then taken connected map nodes, Kirat nodes down here. I've unspec'd out some of them, but I had all of these just to make atlas completion a bit easier because I didn't have any map nodes at this point. I've then actually beelined up here because these were the bottleneck. These modifier tier ratings are the things you're waiting for because you might need 6 to 10 for a craft. So I went straight up here. Then I've started filling out some map nodes here. Map nodes around here. I have taken Unwavering Vision fairly early on to get all the points. Scarabs are handy, but I don't need them at this point. I can always put them in my tree later on. That's the point where I put shrines in because I still didn't have amazing gear and I wanted to push into red maps. So then we took shrines here, these nodes just to give me a chance at an extra shrine, and then these 2 here. And then after that, I was just farming for my graveyard gear. So what I actually did when I didn't need to run influence maps is took back to basics and ran lower tier maps. What you can do is boost the item level up with +1 to item level. You get plenty of them. So I was running sort of lower tier yellow maps on this, and then you were getting good quantity, good pack size. I was putting all the dangerous haunted mods at the top to get as many corpses as I could so that I could get my items crafted. And then obviously once I've pushed into red maps, I've taken that off because I need to start getting influence. Obviously, we took this top hat to go with it. So essentially had massive increase of effect of our map mods. And that's what allowed me to drop, I would say, about 5 to 6 corpses on average per map, which sped up the corpse crafting. It's very, very slow early on when you're kind of first getting into maps because you won't have any of these nodes or any of these nodes. And you're going to be running like magic maps for the most part. So you might get, 2 corpses drop per map. So the way I scaled my graveyard crafting is at the beginning, I just looked for anything that would give me the top 40% of tiers on items and gave me a good chance of getting things like resistances and life. And then I scaled up from there. I didn't really craft my bow until much later on. I crafted like a makeshift bow, and even that I waited till tier 9 and 10 maps. I should have done it earlier. And then I crafted my crit bow later on. Overall, it's been quite fun. It's a challenge that obviously I've never done before because it's a new lead mechanic, and it really focuses you into specific things. So instead of, oh, I need to get my Atlas completion, I need to get my Void Stones, I then need to farm my Watcher's Eye or my Legion Jewel, it was nothing to do with that. It was just getting my gear. And because of +1 to item level, it didn't really matter as long as I wasn't in like really lower tier maps. Didn't really matter what tier maps I was farming in. So I managed to get up to level 93. There's been a few deaths along the way because Lightning Arrow Deadeye is super squishy. Oh, I thought it was more than that. So I've only died 13 times. I won't do /played because I sit AFK constantly in Path of Exile. But if we go to kills, that'll give you an idea. So I've killed 184,000 monsters to get to this point. I would say in trade, this is 5, 6, 7 times as long as it would take me to get my first 2 Void Stones and clear the Atlas. But the challenge was to only use graveyard crafting, and I really didn't want to push ahead into higher tier maps and just die constantly trying to get my progress when it really doesn't serve any purpose in SSF. I don't need to get there earlier. The league is still, you know, months to go, so I can take my time, and that's what I've done. And it has been a nice change of pace. Just saying, you know what, I want to go and run a tier 7 map even though I'm level 90 because I want to get some corpses. So one trick, which I do go through in the video, if you want corpses and you just can't find this particular one, is to use the corpse that randomizes other corpses when you bury it. And the way you do that is you will pick a section here that's got like a cross. You'll put 4 corpses you don't want in these graves, and in the middle one, you'll just keep putting in one of the randomized corpses, see what it gives you. If it doesn't give you a corpse you want, you pull the middle corpse out and you stick another one in, and it will randomize all these 4 again. You don't really need to do it unless you are desperate for something like less chance of resistances. That's quite rare. Less gems is quite rare. Less mana is quite rare. Or you just want to start a craft with some modifier tier ratings or something that you don't have. Then you can use this to get yourself going. Then obviously you have to join it up into your main corpses to make sure that it actually tacks onto your craft. But that helped a lot when I was trying to get stuff crafted. Maybe that was mediocre and I didn't have a ton of corpses. Whenever I found those corpses, that definitely helped. In terms of the build, I probably should have followed a build guide. I didn't. I know roughly how to make a bow character and a tree. I have no idea if my gems are optimal or anything like that, but I will put my POV in the video description. So we'll have a final overview of the gear. And I've definitely never been this well geared, probably in SSF or trade when I've taken down the first 2 quest pinnacle bosses. There's still gear I need to upgrade. I've still got a helmet, a ring, and a pair of gloves from my campaign gear. So the bow is triple T1 elemental with T1 crit chance, T1 crit multi. I messed up here because I thought I put in a reroll 6 times the explicits, but I actually put in a reroll implicit, so it didn't do anything. So I've actually rolled quite low tiers on most of these, which is a shame. This bow would be about probably 5% more DPS if I'd have actually put the right corpse into the ground. We're going to replace the bow at some point. I think what we're probably going to do is try and craft the same bow again, try and get attack speed, crit chance, crit multi, LE damage. And if we roll something similar, then I'll try and annul this one. It's obviously a 1 in 6. It's very unlikely to annul the prod speed. But we'll do that if we can get a replacement, but I'm certainly not doing it beforehand. The helmet, as I say, is from the campaign. We need to get this replaced. Body armor, elemental with chaos, pretty decent evasion. Fizz, taking us fire and cold, and it's 6 linked, or fire and lightning. This ring needs replacing. This is from the campaign. Doesn't have any life. Has pretty much junk everything. That'll be the next replacement. Triple elemental, life, chaos resistance ring. Not amazing because it's lowish tiers, but it's certainly good enough. The amulet is big crit chance, big life, fire damage, tons of attributes. Nice amulet. We need to get an anoint on it. The quiver was sort of a mid-level craft. It's not very good. It's got resistances on it, which I don't want. But it's got decent life, decent damage, and prod speed. So I will look to replace it, but I think the ring and certainly the helmet are going to come first. Mainly the helmet because I want to get minus mana cost to attacks, and I'm not wasting Eldritch currency on this trash helmet. The boots, again, were sort of a mid-tier craft where we went up to sort of, it can roll the top 30%, but everything else is blocked because I just wanted to get my boots replaced. The belt, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the belt because I can only graveyard craft, so I have to craft a Stygian. Again, I don't know how to drop those corpses, so I'll need to go and look into it. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments. And then, like I say, the gloves are good enough for now, but these again are campaign gloves that I need to replace. In terms of the links I settled with, I won't go through all of the gems. I'll put it in the POB. I've gone for Mirage Archer, Returning Projectiles, Lightning Arrow, obviously, Inspiration, Volatility, and Trinity. I wasn't sure between Volatility and crit damage. I would love to drop Inspiration, but I need it for the mana cost. So let's go and do a very quick map showcase. We can put our Void Stones in for the first time. We can start favoriting maps. So if we're going to say we want to keep on this tree for now, we can maybe target something like Jungle Valley, wherever that is, if you can spell. So that's going to be tier 15. That'd be fine, to be fair. So we'll just favorite that for now, but we may rejig that in a moment, and then we'll go and run a map. So we don't have many choices because I've only just completed my Atlas, so I'm not stacked on maps. So we'll chisel that up. Use a binding. We're low on pretty much all currency. That looks fine. Go and run this. We need to get our Maven 10-way, so we'll put that in as well. Don't need Scales or Jewelers, so we're going to put in blast charges, movement speed, attack speed, always maim, so we can get a good chance at corpses. And I don't envisage me getting to a particularly high level on this character because I'm going to die a lot because I'm going to be pushing the Haunted mods in every single map because the only way we're going to upgrade gear is by getting corpses. And my evasion isn't amazing because I do, like I say, need to upgrade my gear a little bit. Silver Flask is what I've been waiting for because now I can drop the Onslaught on Kill nodes. And then that gives me about 5 extra points. I do like Onslaught on Kill. Sorry, the cat's noisy in the background as usual. I do like Onslaught on Kill, but if we're going to look to do something like Destructive Play to go and do the next 2 Void Stones, Onslaught on Kill is a waste of points because on bosses you're never going to get it. All Flame of Anarchy, nice. And I need some orbs to get my flask sorted out. Oh, that's cool. Influence 1. We're just going to grab that shrine actually if we're going to go and do the boss. And it is not particularly great. Oh, is he going to be ghosted? He is. Great. What's Thug's Grip? That might be. It's either Can't Leech or Flask Charges. I can't remember. But yeah, that's him sorted out. And then we'll just go and clear a bit more of the map, see if we can get some corpses. And then as soon as we get under 50 monsters remaining, we'll bail out. Oh, we'll take the frogs as well. It's not the nicest map to clear this. It's very annoying, but the boss is fairly easy, so I don't mind it as a map. I'm not sure we got any corpses in that map, did we? That was pretty poor considering the mods that we put on it, but... And I don't know whether... Oh, 2 monsters left. It was just super delayed in doing it. We'll take the jewel because we're very close to jewel sockets, and then we'll dump it because it's trash. Okay, cool. So that's kind of it for this video. I've never done this sort of video before where it covers such a long period of time for something that's a challenge type of video. So I've no idea if the format worked. I'll look over it again, rethink, and then for the second video we might do something different. I'll let you guys go because my cat definitely needs some fuss. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.